Hi, my name is Paul Nixon, and I am the founder and CEO of Virtual VP Education Consulting. Virtual VP is a unique company because we are here to uplift the people who service the students, the parents, and the teachers. I myself have been a professional in this field of education for over 17 years, and I've worked on every level from elementary school all the way through college as a tutor, a teacher, a mentor, an instructional coach, and an administrator. Everyone is reeling from the coronavirus pandemic, and we've all had to make sudden and drastic changes to our lifestyles that none of us have ever anticipated. One of the biggest changes many of us have had to make is that suddenly we are homeschool parents, and we've had no time to plan or to prepare. The bad news is that you are now a teacher, or at least a teacher's aide. The good news is that you can do this. It's true that your kids will be home with you for at least the rest of this school year, and this may be a truly daunting reality for many of you, but you can do this. And you can do it without having to go back to school to become a professional educator or earn any new certifications. All you have to do is apply 3 very simple principles, and you can be confident that your kids will continue to have an excellent educational experience, even from home. These 3 simple principles are tips to help your homeschool run more effectively. Let me say on the front end that these are tips to help, not necessarily rules to follow absolutely. You know your child better than I do. It could be that something that I suggest doesn't work for your child, or maybe you have to adjust one of my suggestions to fit your situation. So let's get to it. The first principle is the principle of organization. You should have set times and places for schoolwork. Remember, children thrive on routine, and a big part of your child's routine is massively different now. They're used to doing certain things at school and certain things at home, but now they'll have to do all of the school things at home, and it might be unsettling for them. It's up to you as the parent to provide the structure they need to continue to be successful. So organize your time. Start and stop school at the same time every day. Don't leave schoolwork for whenever they get to it. School should begin and end at the same time every day. Your kids should even engage in a morning routine similar to if they were actually going to school. They should get out of bed, they should brush their teeth, they should get dressed, they should go through their daily morning routine, even though they're not leaving the house. Now, they might be able to get up a little later because they don't have to catch the bus, but they should still go through a regular morning routine every day. This will help make going to school in the house work on a long-term basis. In addition to organizing your time, you should also organize your space. There are a few different ways to approach this idea, but the basic concept is you want your kids to be focused on school when it's time for school. That means the television needs to be turned off, the devices need to be powered down, the toys need to be put away, etc. If it's possible for you, try to set a designated space in your home for where school happens. Maybe you turn the guest room into Johnny's schoolroom for the time being. Or maybe there's a special corner in Susie's bedroom where she keeps her school books. Maybe the kitchen table converts into the schoolhouse after breakfast is over, or maybe everyone in the family just agrees that the TV stays off in the living room while school is in session because that's where school is going to take place. Whatever your situation is, having a set designated place for school to happen every day will help your kids to adjust to their new homeschool life. Principle number 2 is to empower your child. Remember that no matter what context schooling takes place in, no one can learn something for someone else. Every person has to do his own learning. That means that your child must do his own work. Your kid must do her own reading. You must not become the student now that your child is learning from home. Your child must remain the student, and you the parent. So give your child the freedom to think and to learn. Again, this can look very different from home to home. Maybe it means that you put a limit on the number of subjects you help with in a given day. Maybe you say, today I'll help you with math, but you have to work your own way through social studies, and then tomorrow change it so that you still have an eye on every subject throughout the week. Or maybe you redirect your child to do their own problem solving instead of helping them through every single problem. Or maybe you work at the same time, but not on the same thing. While you as the parent have to do your work that you now have to do from home, the child has to do their own work that they now have to do from home. Or maybe you even allow your child to make a few mistakes so they can learn from those mistakes. Whatever it looks like in your home, remember to empower your child to do his or her own thinking and learning. Also, make sure your child has what he or she needs in order to learn effectively. Now this goes for materials as well as environment. So if your child needs quiet, then turn the music off or use headphones. If your child needs an empty table, then clear off the table together before she sits down with her lessons. If your child needs to be left alone, then let the dog play outside for a while. Or if your child can't study unless he's in a room with other people, then do your work together in the same room. Empower your child to be successful in this homeschool environment. You must also make sure your child feels emotionally safe and comfortable in the learning environment. Now that the learning environment is your home, this takes on a whole new meaning. Now this can be very difficult, and it might even get more difficult as the time wears on. So try and find something positive to reflect on about all this time you're spending together. Tell him you're not happy about the pandemic, but you are happy that you get to spend so much extra time together. Marvel aloud at all the new things you're learning about her during this time. You know you love your child, just make sure they know it too. You must also set reasonable boundaries and stick to them. This is the other side of that same coin. Helping your child to feel emotionally safe does not mean saying yes to everything they ask. In fact, the opposite is true. One of the ways children know that we love them is when we tell them no when it's for their own good. No, you may not eat ice cream for breakfast. No, you may not play video games for 8 hours. No, you may not have the iPad after 10 p.m. No, you may not skip a shower today just because you won't be leaving the house. Set reasonable boundaries and stick to them. Empower your child to do his or her best work, even though it's from home. The third principle is to rely on the experts. You don't have to take the place of the teacher, at least not completely. Remember that just because you are a homeschool parent for now, it doesn't mean you have to suddenly become a professional educator. You only need to know enough to be helpful when your child has questions. You don't have to re-enroll in the 4th grade in order to be a good homeschool parent. You still have education experts at your disposal, so make use of them. Your child's teacher and/or principal has probably given you some way of contacting them, whether it's a phone number you can text or email address or an app like Remind or Class Dojo. So take advantage of that opportunity, but remember to stay reasonable. Remember that the teacher or principal is a human being. This means they do not want to be bombarded with a barrage of emails from the same person every hour. So instead of sending a message every time you think of something, maybe keep a list on your phone and send the message at the end of the day, or when the list reaches a certain number. So, for example, you might come up with 3 good questions and then send the email. This will help your child's teacher or principal stay afloat during this time. Remember, they're making major adjustments right now too. Finally, encourage your child's school to make use of good distance learning resources, such as apps and consultants. If your child's teacher is having a difficult time keeping up with all the emails and messages, then suggest using a classroom communication app, such as Remind. With Remind, all of the students and the teacher can be in the same conversation, and nobody has to even exchange numbers. If the teacher is having trouble converting a lesson to an online format, suggest speaking to an education consultant, maybe even virtual VP. A consultant is there to help people fill the gaps. In this case, there might be a gap in your teacher's training because they don't have training to teach online. So if your child's teacher is having trouble making the transition, encourage them to speak to a consultant. The teacher will get the help that she needs, and your child will benefit from it. For a downloadable printout from this webinar and some sample schedules that you can use to keep your homeschooler on track, click on the link in the description box to go to our website. Well, hopefully this was helpful for you, and you feel like you can face this challenge. Keep these 3 tips in mind. Be organized, empower your child, and rely on the experts, and you can turn your home into an effective homeschool for your child.